Good morning, glorious people, and welcome to another vlog with me, Carolyn, from Crafting with Glorious Purpose, where here we make unique and custom gifts for you or for that special someone. This is the week of 10/19, and we are market free this week. So I am going to be doing a little bit of a different vlog this week. I actually had a comment that somebody wanted to see more on how I decide my packaging. So I think that is what we're going to do this week. Some of the stuff that I'm going to do off video this week that I need to do is replenish the stock that I sold at my last event, work on my Christmas collection because I'm not ready to send out sneak peeks just yet. I need to also update a couple things on my Big Cartel homepage. I took a nice panoramic-ish looking while I was replenishing the batteries in my boxes. I took some photos of them all together lit up. And so I have those and I want to put them up on my homepage to kind of replace and put up some new pics. And the last thing I need to do is need to make a bank run. The one thing I did forget to mention is everything on my last event was all cash. I've never had that before, which was amazing. Because those shoppers were ready to go. They were not fooling around. One woman paid me in quarters so that I had change. I mean, it was great. So, yeah, this week I'm going to talk a little bit about how I decide on what I do for my packaging. And without further ado, let's get started on our first product. So I have to apologize. The lighting in here is a little crappy today. No sun. So I would be sitting down here in the dark if it weren't for you. So I have the overheads on, which is not my favorite thing, but we need that. And the gentle hum you hear in the background is my laptop struggling with the YouTube video for this past week. So that is working on being uploaded or exported. So the first thing we're going to look at is packaging for my vinyl decals. So first off, let me say, yes, I am very conscious of the environment. And yes, I realize that packaging is probably the most wasteful thing that you can do as a small business financially and for the environment. However, you spend a lot of money and time doing products and then they get ruined before they even make it to the customer. That's not good. So I make sure that I get financially the cheapest I can get, but I also don't want the quality to be bad because I want it to look nice. I also want it to protect the item so that people can take them home. So the main thing that I do is when I have things out on my table, I like when people look through stuff. I mean, you have to touch things. You can look with your eyes, but that doesn't help you if you want to purchase something. I want to touch it. I want to feel it, which is also what I think most people are like. So yeah, it's nice to get things delivered from Amazon and not have to go out to the store and do all that other stuff. But then when you get it, you're like, that's not what I thought it was. At least with being in person at a store, you can see it, you can touch it, whatever. So I have things that are out and on my table so that people can kind of feel like what the towels feel like, what the bandana looks like, how big it looks, how will it fit my dog, things like that. But there are other things like my stickers. I have them protected because kids. I have a kid. I know don't touch, but they don't always do that. And kids touch with their hands. They see with their hands. They want to play with things. So if I'm doing a farmer's market and the kids are eating snow cones and they get their hands all over my stuff, at least they're in bags and they're protected. So that's my thinking. And adults are the same way. They come with their coffees, their water dripping all over the place, sweaty bottles, and they put them on your tablecloth and things like that. You just need to make sure that your hard work is protected. I couldn't in good conscience sell something to someone that is water damaged or whatever and just kind of chalk it up as like, oh, sorry, I wouldn't, it would be a total loss. Like I would have to eat that cost, so I try my best to keep my things protected. So The one that goes without saying is obviously vinyl decals, will be my first one. So for my decals, the way I package them is I buy these, they're 5x5 little cello resealable packs. And what I did was I wanted to have instructions on the back of these. So I have a QR code that you can scan, and then I have my instructions. And then I also put in an alcohol pad so that they can clean off the surface. Because sometimes you don't think of that when you go out to your car. You're like, oh, super excited to put on. You're like, oh crap, my window's dirty. This way, at least you have something on hand. When you open up the pack, you're ready to go. Or same thing with your water bottle if that's where you're putting it. So I keep the packaging very minimalistic because I want you to be able to see the decal. That's the most important part. But like I said, I like having the instructions because I've seen too many times where people put decals on their windows and they don't take the transfer tape off. So you see them driving around with this white or this frosted square over top of it. Whether they do that to think they're protecting it, or, I mean, that's fine, but I wanted to make sure that I spelled out that both of these components are sandwiched. There's a backer sheet and a frosted sheet on the front, and all of that needs to go away when it goes onto your window. The QR code takes you to my YouTube video where I show how to apply a vinyl decal so that it's easier for them to see if they're more of a visual person or if they want to read the actual instructions. So I have these for all of my decals. The only ones that are a little different are my nose art ones because depending on the dog, they're a little taller. So they don't fit in this little one. So these are 4x6 decal or cello bags. And I got these ones in that Amazon haul section for like $1.99, like a big giant stack of them for $1.99. But yeah, I mean, like the Corgi probably would fit in a 5x, but you know, some of these, especially like the Boston Terrier one, the ears are up on this one. So that makes it a little more difficult to fit in the smaller ones. Can I make the dog smaller? Absolutely. Would it be a nightmare to weed? Absolutely. So that's why they're bigger. Plus, you know, I wanted them to stand out, you know, from the other ones, because in this way I can put them in a bigger bin and people, as soon as they see them, they're drawn to them. So that's how I did that. But the back is exactly the same. I've just made the instructions a little bigger and get a little more space with my logo and stuff. But always keep your branding on your pieces too, so that if the card gets taken out, it's got your name on it, where they got it, and all that good stuff. So that's how I decided on my vinyl decals, was I wanted something that was sturdy enough so that this didn't get bent. This also helps in shipping. So I put them in a package like this just so that they have some kind of backer card behind them. This also helps too at events, because when I have them in my bin and people are leafing through them, they're pulling back on them to look at the different designs and things like that. It won't bend. So you have that. So that's what I do for my vinyl decals. And then we're going to move on to stickers. All right, so next up are my stickers. So you've seen my binder. I mean, that's nothing new on my previous videos. But when I do my stickers, I keep them, they are not prepackaged individually. I keep them in my binder, and I get those sheets that are the 3x3 squares for, I don't even know what they're for, to be honest, but they're scrapbook size. They're 12x12. So then they have the three squares, 3 squares, 3 squares, kind of like the same thing like with baseball cards, where you put one on one side and then the other one's behind it. So when you're flipping in the book, you only have one side that you can access the sticker. But here's one of my dog stickers. There we go. And my packaging is just me stamping the back. And then I write my SKU number on the back so that when I'm doing the checkout and they hand me stickers, I can just type that code in and then add it in there. I don't put them in actual packaging, but when we're at events, I have these smaller, I forget what the size on these are. And these ones I got off Amazon haul as well. These ones are 4 inches wide. Oh, these are the 4x6. I'm sorry. The decal ones were 4x7 or 6x9, and I have them folded over. So 6x9. These ones are the 4x6. Thought that looked kind of big for a 4x6. But what I'll do is I'll have these on hand with my sticker of my logo on them already. And if somebody just buys a sticker or a stack of stickers, I offer them 3 for $6 in person. So if they get 3 stickers or they buy just one, what I'll do is I'll stick them in the cello bag with my business card if they don't, because normally when they buy this, I'm not going to give them a bag for this. They usually just put it in their purse, or they already had shopped somewhere else and they'll put it in there. But to make sure that my brand's on there, I have my little stickers that I do with my Mun Bin. So I have these little guys here. I have a roll of them with my logo on it. Come on, focus. So then I have that little sticker goes in the corner, and then I drop my business card in there if they're not purchasing something else. Now, if they're purchasing something else, I still put them in the cello bag to keep them protected from the other items in the bag, but I'll put them in these and I'll just drop it in there just so that it has something to protect it. These are water resistant. They're not to be soaked in water and they're also not UV protected, but they won't scratch. But the one thing I don't want is them to get dog-eared in the bag with something else, or if they drop it into their purse and it gets bent. This way, at least it has a little bit of protection. So that's what I do for my stickers. All right, next up are window clings. So my window clings look like that. When they have the light coming through them, they are at their best. People tend to not know what these are. And the easiest way for me to have people figure it out is not being overbearing and telling them, you know, to do this one simple thing, which is hold it up to the light. So I have this little sticker that I put on the top corner of every single one of these, and I put my logo with the SKU number underneath it on the back, so that people are forced, when they're looking through, they're going, what are these? And then they hold them up and they see the prism. Then they go, oh, so these go on your window is what they say? And I go, yes. So it is something where you actually ask them to do something without having to tell them, and they figure it out, and then they're amazed. So my packaging for these, depending on the size, I try to keep them in the 5x5 range, but I do have some that fit in my 4x6, and I also have ones that are in my bigger packs, which are the 6x9, which are the size that I use for the nose art decals, just depending on what the design is. So if it's something that's bigger, I will put it in those packaging, but I like to keep these without the backer cards on them, and I like to have them without the back on them so that they stay clean. They don't lose their static, and people can enjoy them by holding them up and seeing completely through them without any obstruction. So these ones, I don't put any instructions or anything in there. I'm pretty sure people know how to put a window cling on a window. But I do recommend to people, like when they buy them, I'm like, just make sure your surface is clean. If it's a little bit dusty, it's not going to stick. Like my windows are always dirty. But give them a good cleaning. And if they feel like they're not going to stick, just get them a little bit wet. Like just wipe them with a wet paper towel and then put them on the window, and that little bit of suction will keep it there, and plus the sun will hold it. I did have a woman at my last event ask me about her window clings, and she said she had some that she bought at the store, kind of like, you know, where you go to the Dollar Tree and you get, you know, Halloween ones or whatever. And I guess she gets so much sun on her window that it actually, the white stuck to the back of the window cling, actually made white on her window. Like when she pulled it off, there was like residue she had to clean off. And I was like, well, these ones, the back, there's nothing there. The decal is on the front and it's stuck onto this piece. So there's nothing will transfer to your window. So she was excited about that and bought two. So keep that in mind. You know, if you're looking to do window clings, that you might need to explain what they are, because not everybody understands what they are. But I simply just put that little logo on there, or little Munbin sticker that says "Hold me to the light," and it does the job. So that's what I do for my window clings. All right, so next up on the list, car coasters and keychains. So I'm lumping these together because technically the packaging came with the product. So when I bought these on Amazon, they came with backer cards and the packaging that goes with them. So all I did was print my logo as a strip across the top as a sticker, and I put it over top of what it said, like handmade with love or something like that, because I want my name on there and not, you know, and then I just put a simple Munbin sticker on the back. The other part that I do, and only because I have so many dog breeds, I actually put the dog name, and then on the back I have the SKU number so that I can type it into Square pretty quickly at checkout. Or if my husband or my son are logging in, they may not know, I mean, I'm sure they'll know the difference between a bulldog and a shepherd, but some dogs look a lot alike, especially when you get into like the Havanese and the Maltese and things like that. They're not gonna know those ones. So I have the SKU numbers on there so they're easier for checkout. Same thing with these. So these are the keychains that I get, and I get those on Amazon as well. And these come with the backer cards. They're plain. I just run them through my printer and print my brand on them, put the dog name and a SKU number, of course, and then I do another simple sticker on the back. So these ones are packaging that I don't actually buy separately. I just make it my own. So keep that in mind whenever you're making product. Make sure your name's on it. Next up are my gift card holders. So I do these with just a simple 4x6, which is the same packaging I use on those. These I just fold over. So they are just a backer card that's plain, and I put, you know, the price sticker on there, and then on the back I have my logo and the SKU number for Square. These I just put the backer card in there only because I, again, don't want them to get bent or ruined or dog-eared, so they're in there and they're protected, but they also add as a backdrop for my gift card holders. So they're a little easier to be seen, whether they were if they were in a clear bag, you may not see them as well because they'll be over top of others and it'll be harder to see. So it's a little more pleasing to the eye to have a solid color in the back. I don't know if I will go the route of actually printing something like this. If I decide to keep these, I might do my leaves or something to just kind of tie in the brand a little more. These were kind of a tester to see how these would go. This last event, nobody even looked at them at all. Other events, I sell out of them. So it depends on the group of people. So I honestly thought that this being an older demographic, being a church, that I would have sold some more of these, but I guess not. So they were all about the dogs. So that will be our next topic. Next up, dog bandanas. So I offer two different kinds. I have my over the collar and I have my tie ones. So when I do my over the collar ones, they're just a simple 6x9 bag, unless they're extra small, and then they go in these little 5x5s, which is the same for my decals, my window clings. You're kind of getting the point. I try to repurpose the same size for a lot of things so that I'm not stuck with a bunch of bags specific for one product. So these 6x9 ones will fit the small, medium, and a large. I just simply fold the backs in. I don't know if you can see that. And I just put the washing instructions in a slip of paper that slides in there. And then I have my logo on the front and what the size is. So this one was an extra, but that's the new brand that I have. I got the Munbin stickers that have the craft paper look to it. and I've been using those to keep everything on point. But I was handwriting small, medium, and large on them so that when they're leaping through, they can see them pretty easily. But that's pretty much it. I keep it this way so that it's nice and clean. I do need to get a sample one of the over the collar because normally I just open a pack and just show them what it looks like. But I do have a display version of these. And then I have, these ones are in the 5x5s, but since they're like origami folded in here to fit, I don't take them out of the packaging. So I have one on display that was one of my oopsies, just so they can get a feel for it, see how wide it is. I drape it over the table underneath or weave it in between my bin if I have it where you're leafing through these. If these are hanging on the grid wall, then I have it hanging on the display. So if somebody wants to see it, I can take it down and they can, you know, touch it and stuff. But this one, I simply package it with a, you know, the size. This one's more of a one size fits all. It can be rolled down for a small dog. It goes up to 31 inches, which I believe the biggest I've had it on a dog was a husky, which was, you know, fluffy and it fit perfect. So yeah, 31 inches is pretty wide to still be able to get a nice tie on it. But these ones, the ones that are specific to a size dog. So the only other thing that I do for this one is I have a washing labels on there. I'm thinking I might, going forward, I just have it as a sticker that I put on a piece of craft cardstock. I might actually just print on them just to save myself the extra effort of making a sticker to put on there. So I have these with the little grid, well, like I have little tabs on them so I can hang them on my hooks if I want. I can hang them on the wall if I'd like, and put them in a bin if I want. So these fit perfect in those little collapsible bins so people can leaf through them. So depending on the layout of my booth and what I have space for, sometimes I'll hang these on the wall, sometimes I'll put them in a bin, but keeps people from, you know, when they touch them, they don't get dirty. Most of these ones are white. With 31 inches, it's kind of hard to do an all over print like you would with something like this. So I try to keep the design here. You're not going to see most of it anyway when it's tied, especially if it's a fluffy dog, it's going to get hidden. So I don't do anything on the part where it's going to tie. I just do the design really big on the front so that when it's hanging, you can actually see it. But yeah, I like to try to repurpose the same size bags for everything so that when I'm buying them, I have, you know, something that fits in everything. So I don't have 80 different size bags. You know, this one gets a 3-inch bag. This one gets this. So I repurpose a lot of them, but the 3 sizes that I mostly use are these little 4x6s, the 5x5s, and the 6x9. And 6x9 I also use, so I use it for the decals, I use it for my bandanas, and sometimes use it for my gift card holders because I can flip them down and I can get that height. But the other thing I use them for are my towels, and towels are the next thing on my list. Okay, last but not least, hand towels. So my hand towels, I use the same 6x9 poly bags, and as simple as just putting a care card in it. I fold it and put it in here, and they're easy. They stay clean. These, more than any of them, since it's a hand towel and will be used in the kitchen, I don't let people touch them. I don't like, as soon as this comes off the press, it goes in the bag, and I do not have any contact with anything other than the solo bag. I do have one that is out of the package that is an oopsie, and I put that on display with it so people can see what it looks like. I believe it's my taco, all you need is love and tacos. And that's it. I mean, I don't put any bells and whistles or anything else, just letting the art do its thing. So these are tri-folded into the packs and ready for display. So this one, I don't do any cards or anything other than just the same sublimation. And I've changed my card a little. It's more of a square with the pink to be more on brand. I was trying to get away from using the craft paper, even though I do end up with a lot of scraps that are long and little ones that are square. And I was using these ones as the card. I might go back to them actually, now that I'm thinking about it, and maybe I can fit a few up on here and make them squares. It just depends on how well you'll be able to read the instructions. Maybe my logo is on the front and something on the back. But I was trying out the pink for a while and seeing how that looked, because I could print them up, I think 9 up on a sheet or something like that. So I might look at using the scraps up and doing that. And yes, that is the packaging that I use for my products. I do offer other products, but they don't get packaged. Like I have my wristlets, I just hang those up. Those just have a simple little tag, and I use the same craft paper. I just use my Cricut to cut out a little tag shape and just write the price on it. And then my shadow boxes are the other one, and that one is not in any packaging. They're out for the world to see. I do have bags that I put them in to transport them to the event. They're clear plastic bags that stops them from getting scratched when they're in my wagon or in my bin that goes into my wagon. So I use no packaging on there other than just that little triangle that says I light up, just so the people know that it lights up. And yeah, I think that's all of my packaging. So hopefully this helps you out when you're doing your packaging. Key takeaways would be, let your art shine. Don't make the packaging complicated, because you'll spend more time doing packaging than you are making profit. So like, you want to keep your product be the part that shines, and also you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on packaging, then it eats away at the profit you make on your product. So like I said, I buy these big reams of craft paper, these 12 by 12s, and I get so many products out of that one pack. Because like I said, I use it for the backers for all of my cards. If I don't print on them, I still use them as backers. I even use the scraps. So I use every inch of all of that. So that is nothing that is wasted. And the cello bags I also use across all products so that it's simple and easy. This way I don't have odd sizes. I don't do the little flip over with the name and stapling and doing all. I don't have time for that. The cello bag seals, it's perfect. And I'm thinking we might be doing some consignment soon, so I might need to do some packaging for stickers, which is something that I don't currently do now, but I would need to look at maybe doing a 3x3 size package to put that in. And I'm thinking like the keychain cards would be perfect. Run that through my printer, put my branding on it, and then put the little card in there with the sticker and call it what it is. That way they're protected, but they can also be sold separately. So we will see how all that goes. So I thank you for tuning in. Let me know what you do for your packaging and how you keep your costs down as well. And I hope this helps someone in their journey for their small business and making packaging for their products. And thank you very much for the suggestion from one of my subscribers. So hopefully this answers some of your questions that you had. And I will catch you next week. We will be the week of a market week. So we will have the full week to get things ready for our next event, which will be November 1st at Baldwin High School, which will be a big show. It's always been successful for us in the past. So we're looking forward to it. So we will catch you later, and I hope you have an awesome week, and stay glorious. Bye.